So today we're gonna do something a little bit different. I wanted to chat with you guys about how Coeur d'Alene went. I normally do a blog post and just give you guys a really fun race report, a written race report, but I thought, you know what, let's do something a little bit different here. I want to share kind of a video, kind of my thoughts on race day and how everything went. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I apologize if it's a little bit sloppy. This is my first race report done via video, and I'm kind of going off the cuff here, so let's see how it goes. So anyways, here we go. Coeur d'Alene 70.3. This is one of my favorite races, mostly because it is a hometown race for me, relatively speaking. Since I live in Spokane, Washington, Coeur d'Alene is about 45 to an hour away from where my husband and I live in Spokane. So I get to sleep in my own bed, I don't have to travel anywhere, and my family can easily get up here, and so I have friends and family come watch. It's a really fun race. It's one of my favorites. I have now done it 3 years in a row since the first year that it was here in Coeur d'Alene, and it's my favorite. I absolutely love it. The crowd is amazing, the spectators are fantastic, volunteers are unbelievable. There's just so much about Coeur d'Alene that I absolutely love. If you haven't been to this race yet, I highly recommend it. So there's my little yay for Coeur d'Alene. So anyways, the race as everybody knows, if you follow me on social media, it did go very well for me. I ended up taking first in my age group, fourth overall for age groups, and came away with the fastest run split for age groupers. So I'm very, very thrilled about that. Very happy about it, very excited. I went into this race wanting to put together a good half Ironman. While I have had some good races in the half Ironman distance, I have not put together my most fantastic one yet, and I still don't believe that I've done that. It seems like so far Ironman has been the only distance, full Ironman has been the only distance that I can honestly say I have put together from start to finish a fantastic race. Not sure why. I think it's maybe because I'm constantly not fully tapering for a 70.3. I'm not 100% sure why, but I came into this race with a pretty big goal. Secretly, my main goal was to win it. I really wanted the win, but my verbal goal to everybody was I just wanted to go sub 450. I believed that was what I was capable of, and that is what I wanted to do. So I ended up achieving both my secret goal and my verbal goal this past weekend, and I'm very thrilled about that. So let's chat about the race. Ironman 70.3 Coeur d'Alene, as I mentioned, is one of my favorites. It was an early morning start, very early morning. I'm pretty sure my alarm clock went off at 3:05 to be exact. And let me tell you, eating that early in the morning is really hard for me. I was able to get some coffee down, and then I had to force feed myself on the way to the course. Transition setup in the morning went very smoothly, smoother than in past years. Seems like it was just maybe a little less crowded in transition area. Maybe I got there early enough this time that it didn't feel as rushed, or maybe I'm just getting more smooth at them. So got set up in the morning, got to chat with some of my friends, saw some of my favorite people, easily was able to get into my wetsuit, hopped in the water, was very happy to feel that the water was not as cold as everybody thought it was maybe going to be. None of that shocking. I think it was in the 60s. So race went off for the pros at 6 a.m. and then for the age groupers about 6:15. And they had a rolling start. This time the rolling start was where they would take 5 of us and every 5 seconds send us off. I really loved that race format. As someone who's not a strong swimmer, mass starts are really tough for me. So I do enjoy the rolling start very much. Swim went very smoothly. It was one of the easiest swims in Lake Coeur d'Alene. I don't know if any of you have done Lake Coeur d'Alene before, but Coeur d'Alene can be kind of a brutal lake to swim in. It is usually cold and it is usually windy, so it can be very choppy. So swim went pretty well. It was a small PR for me, not a massive one, not what I was hoping. I did get a little bit pushed off course at one point, probably my own fault. I was just in a groove and not paying enough attention to where I was going, so had to get myself back on course. able to handle it fine and not panic. Some waves, nothing super crazy, nothing super choppy. Was able to find some feet on the way back, which was really helpful for me, just because I had some issues with sighting on the way coming in, because the sun comes up and I am a right side breather, and so with the sun coming up I was very much blinded most of the time. So finding some feet on the way back was really helpful and got me through the rest of the swim. So got out of the water and made my way to the bike. Thankfully there were wetsuit strippers, because the wetsuit was my first time in my Roka suit and it was a little bit harder to get off than, but thankful for wetsuit strippers who were amazing. Had a fairly quick transition, super easy, super fast. My bike was in a good location to get on it, so I got ready and got on my way, and let's rock and roll. Let's make our way onto this bike course. Let me tell you guys, this bike course surprises me every single year. You'd think after 3 years and after living in the area, I would know how hilly this bike course is. It surprises me every single year. I don't know what it is. I must have like that brain where it goes, oh yeah, this is not that bad of a course. It is very hilly. I feel like you spend a lot of time going uphill, especially on the way out, which they end up being the same, but it's an out and back. So you'd think the elevation gain would be the same, but the way out always seems to surprise me. Bike went really well. I felt really strong. Did find there's a couple things I did have to fix. Word of advice, if you feel like your brakes might be rubbing prior to, take the time to have somebody fix them for you if you are not strong at it. I got lazy on Saturday and was really tired and just wanted to go home. I did not stop at the bike shop to get my brakes double checked, my back brakes double checked, and they rubbed the entire bike course. Definitely felt like I was just pulling somebody behind me. It wasn't a huge rub or anything, but enough that over 56 miles, when you're trying to push 200 watts, that you could feel it. It definitely was a little bit frustrating. I found myself getting really caught up in my own head in the middle of the bike course, especially on the way back. I was calculating times in my head and just going, I'm not going to hit the time I wanted. I was shooting for about a 2:35 to 2:32, which is what I do believe I am capable of on that course, but I was calculating and I just wasn't going to even get close to that. So I was getting a little bit frustrated, and I found myself being like, well, maybe this race is over. I'm so mad at myself for having not gone to get my bikes checked. Come on, Kayla, you're smarter than that. But with 10 miles to go, I took a look down at my watch and said, you know what, this race is not over. There's still a run. You are a strong runner. Running is where you excel. This race is not over. You're probably in the top 5 somewhere, so you just get your mind right, keep going, keep pushing, get yourself to that run, and then just see what happens. So it took a little bit, but I did have to force myself. I just retrained my mind and said, you know what, this race is not over. And really focused on getting myself to that run and then just taking it from there, rather than focusing on how mad I was at myself for not going and getting my brakes checked. I will tell you, next time I will get my brakes checked. Learning experience for Kayla right there. So I ended up pulling into transition at about 2:40, which again was about 5 minutes slower than I anticipated, but not a bad time to say the least. So I'm still very happy with it. Pulled on my shoes. I got to see my mom as I was running through transition. It's always one of my favorite parts. My family has a really great way of spreading themselves out throughout the entire race course so that I can see them, and it makes it a little bit more fun for me. I love being able to see my friends and family out there. It helps motivate me and keeps me going. She told me where I was going to find Brandon, which, and I knew he said a little bit outside of transition. So I pulled my shoes on and said, you know what, we're going to go for it. We're going to start running, and we're going to run hard, and we're going to run fast, and we're going to just run until we can't run any longer. Settled in at about a 6:30, I think is what I settled in at right out of transition. I was wondering if that was maybe going to be a little bit fast, but just told myself not to think about it. I have trained to run that pace at 6:30. We spent a lot of runs at Ironman 7.3 pace trying to hit that 6:30. So I knew I could do it. I just wasn't sure how long I could hold it for. Saw Brandon right outside of not too far outside of transition. He let me know that I was in about second place at the time and about 4 minutes back. And so I said, all right, I'm just gonna go for it, and kind of took off and kept running. Let me tell you, I thought that Ironman Arizona was my most fun run ever. This probably tops Ironman Arizona's run for me. I had so much fun out there. I felt like I could run forever, which was a pretty amazing feeling. I just kind of kept going, and I wanted that win so badly. And I just set in my mind, I was like, you know what, there's no way I'm not going to win this race. I am going to give it everything I had. It was a bit of a warm run, but the volunteers were so amazing. They always had water out for you. They had goos, soda. They're just an amazing group of people constantly cheering you on. There's music all over the course, spectators everywhere. Again, this is why I love this race, is because the spectators in Coeur d'Alene, there's spectators at all races are amazing, but there is something very special about your hometown. So, like I said, spectators were fantastic. There was people cheering everywhere. I always felt like you were able to stay pretty darn cool on the race course if you needed to. So I drank water at every single aid station because it was hot out. Made sure that I kept myself cool. And honestly, I just thought about pulling that second place in, or that first place in, and going for it. And kept would look down at my watch and see that I was hanging in around that 6:20 to 6:30 pace, and I just said, Kayla, you gotta hang in there. Eventually ran into my dad, and he was able to tell me that I was a little bit closer. Started the second lap of Coeur d'Alene's run when I saw my dad, and he told me I was about 30 seconds out, and I just remember thinking, I have got this. There is no way I'm not going to do it. And I took off. I think I actually ran like a 5:50 mile at that point. And Brandon afterwards told me, he's like, whoa, all I remember thinking was, Kayla, you got to slow your roll, girl. You still got 7 miles to go. And I think I thought the same thing in my head, like, all right, Kayla, calm down. You got this. And so was able to just pull it in, just have so much fun out there on that course. Ran my strongest, ran my hardest. Ended up seeing, so many friends and family, crossed that and then saw my dad with about a half mile to go, and he was like, you got this, Kayla. And I remember he reached his hand and I smacked it and said, I got this, and took off towards that finish line. It was just that feeling of really nailing a run in my hometown was so amazing. There so much strength and passion as I was running down Main Street, people cheering, people screaming, hearing Ironman music playing. It's just a reminder of why we do this sport. So there's so many highs and lows in it, and it's those highs and lows that keep you coming back. Ended up crossing the finish line at 4:44. I think I already mentioned that, but massive PR for myself. Great confidence booster for moving into the next big phase of Kona training. So I just wanted to share kind of my thoughts on the day and say a huge thank you to everybody who has supported me throughout this entire journey from day one to now and moving forward. As always, I have to thank my mom and dad for always, they showed up late on Friday night after working all day, golfed all day Saturday, got up at 3 a.m, came out to support, and then drove home to Hood River from Coeur d'Alene, didn't get home till 8 p.m. that night, and then had to turn around and go to work on Monday. So they constantly are there to support me, and I'm so thankful and grateful for them, and so much fun having them out there. Seeing my mom set herself out and went out, I think it was like mile 3. She was way out there, and coming around the corner and seeing my mom there jumping, screaming, just made my day. And I could hear her yelling at me to go faster and run faster and keep my knees up, run smooth. And it was good little reminders that I needed during that time frame. So as always, you all know my amazing husband, who is the world's best Sherpa. So thankful for him. In-laws who came out, friends and family who came out to the race. My coach Heather, who constantly pushes me to be stronger, faster, never stops believing in me. and gives me the hard work that I ask for. My sponsors, Irwin Cycling with the amazing race wheels, Infinite Nutrition to keep me going, Rudy Project with the fantastically safe helmets and amazing sunglasses, Roca for the swim gear, sure needed it on that cold race course in the cold Lake Coeur d'Alene, and just everybody else who's been there to support me. It was really fun getting to race with my own athlete, Julia. She raced it as well. She's on the Wear Your Feet, Take Your team, so I just wanted to give a quick shout out to her for being a part of it. Oh, we got a visitor. So anyways, I hope you guys all enjoyed this. I know it's maybe a little bit scattered. I might start doing a little bit more of these, and thanks for following along with the journey. I had a ton of fun out there this weekend, and up next is Boulder 70.3 in about 5 weeks, and we have Kona World Championships here in about 15. So I'll see you guys all then.